What's happening, Hardscapers? We're here. It's a sad day. It is the end of the season, and I figured I'd do an end of the season wrap-up video, talk about my goals that I set at the beginning of the season to the goals that I completed by the end of the season's goals that I didn't complete by the end of the season, and just an overall wrap-up of how this season went. Let's get into it. So overall, my goal with my Hardscape business was to expand more into the design build space. I started my business 4 years ago, and I started specifically in the lift and relay side of things. So the more maintenance side, doing some cleaning, even doing some sealing every once in a while. But that was the niche that I thought I really wanted to tap into, and I did that for a specific reason, mostly because we didn't have the capital to invest at the time in a lot of things that comes with a design build, starting from scratch, these types of builds, especially working for a landscape supplier. I knew based on the things that the contractors were telling me and based on the amount of companies that were turning down the smaller jobs, that I knew that I could start a small business and I could specifically do those small jobs, those front entrance walkway jobs that the customer has just a small budget for, the lift and relays that needed to be fixed, that don't require a lot of machine operation, machine rentals, machine ownership, but do require a little bit more labor. I figured that that's where my niche really fit in, and how I could serve both the clients but as well as the contractors around me, because they were turning these jobs down. They didn't have anybody to pass these jobs to, and I thought that I'd fit in right well with that. And while that was a great plan and all to start my business, and it really is a good business model because there's so much of that work out there, and it's true that these contractors, they just can't price themselves accordingly to be able to fit within a budget with all their machine ownership to do these lift and relays. And I believe it's actually an easier business model to scale because of that, because of the low overhead costs that'll come with that, because you're not doing custom work, you're just rebuilding something that's already there. So it's easier to train employees and build a system around that and systematize that business to be able to scale it a lot easier rather than custom design build jobs. But what I didn't account for was that I really hate lift and relays. I really enjoy the creative side of a design build aspect of doing custom work. And I had this epiphany in my second year when I signed up a ton of lift and relays on this one street, doing driveway lift and relays. And I knew it wasn't for me at that time, partway through that season, and that I needed to change. Otherwise, I would get burnt out. I wouldn't want to build the business. I'd get sick of the business. It was at that time that I knew I wanted to build a design build business where I'm doing these, where I'm expressing my creativity, where I'm doing these custom jobs. And that's where I knew I wanted to start to transition my business over to. Now, I didn't do a complete rebrand because I didn't think that was necessary after only about a year and a half in business. So I started to shift into that aspect of the business. At this time, I'd built up that capital that I could start to invest more into the business with these lift and relays that were coming in. Now, I certainly did get design and builds in those first 2 years, which kind of helped me understand that that's where I wanted to be and that's where I wanted to focus my business on. So I had that experience, and I knew in year 3 I was going to double down on that experience. Now, I didn't right away commit to design builds in that 3rd year. Instead, what I did was I set out a 3 to 5 year plan that I was going to slowly hit certain marks in my business where I was going to scale back that lift and relay and start to get into more design build. That gave me some time to ensure that I had the business coming in, because lift and relay business is really different from design build business. And what I realized was, once you set yourself into a certain niche, that is the clients that you're going to attract, because those clients are going to refer you to other clients that tell those clients that hey, this person is great for these lift and relays. They're not going to specifically say design builds. At least that's what I found in my business. And although those design builds do trickle in, it's more so those the clients that you serve are the clients that you're going to attract type of thing. And that became especially true with referrals coming into my business through other sources like landscape suppliers and whatnot that knew that I did that specific type of business. So I knew that this was going to be a 3 to 5 year plan. And now this season was year 2 of that plan. And I'm not exactly where I want to be percentage wise in my business for these lift and relays to design build projects, but I also had to pivot in my business in that plan exactly because of this whole situation that we find ourselves in and product shortages that we find ourselves in. I figured that I would kind of keep a little bit more lift and relay projects on hand to fill in certain situations where I might find that a product's not coming in time, and I can hop over to one project before starting a design build project that I'm waiting on that material, so I can do a lift and relay, fit in certain pockets here and there in my business, in my schedule that really work to my advantage, especially late in the season, and filling in these sort of holes that I find myself needing to fill with these lift and relays. So I've kind of pivoted in terms of that percentage that I want to be at. I've been a little bit more flexible. And hey, if you enjoy these types of videos, if you enjoy this video, please subscribe. I'd really love it if you subscribe. I've really focused on selling features into all of these design builds to improve my revenue, to improve my profit margin on these projects. Things like gas fire pits have been a huge seller for me. Really add to a space for the client, as well as are a great showcase for future projects that I want to get into. So lighting gets sold on every project. Gas fire pits get sold on every project that I can. Ponds, I did my first pond this season and I want to continue that, and water features going into the future for my business. I had a lot of fun getting creative with that project. Now, one thing I want to do more of as I start to scale my business is get out of these tight access situations, start to draw in larger access, because obviously it goes without saying those tight access jobs are not exactly where I want to fit my business into, though I think we're really good right now leveraging things like synthetic base and like a gator base for that, and having the tools and equipment available to us to be able to complete those projects. It's not exactly what I want to do long term. When it comes to employees, I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be with employees. I thought I was, but that changed partway through the season, as you may have seen with the Y project vlog, where we did a day-by-day vlog of that. You can check that out on a playlist and just see the trials and tribulations of a project day by day, and to go through that whole mess with me. But next year, I want to have at least one solid employee that I can start to scale up and get to a foreman level, and then kind of build around that. I like to have at least 2 employees a season, and I'm going to try to replicate that next season, but I want to have somebody that I can start to slowly lean on as the season progresses next year. That's what I want to be with employees. Now, in terms of equipment, I'm also not exactly where I want to be with that. I wanted to have a new truck by the end of this season. I didn't quite get there, though this truck has been solid to me. Really looking to get a new truck and to start to invest more in a piece of equipment. Now, I've been really hesitant on a piece of equipment, and that's specifically because of these tight access jobs that I have been taking on. If I commit to buying a certain type of equipment, I really need to commit to start to really focus on projects that I can take on for that piece of equipment. I've really leveraged renting pieces of equipment in my business. I've really loved that, but I am at a point in my business where, especially when I'm going more to these design build projects, where I really need to focus on the type of equipment that I want to start to focus on for these projects that I'm going to start to be taking on. If you've seen some of the projects that we've done on this channel, you'll see that it ranges in access. So being able to rent out specific pieces of equipment for specific projects to get the job done has really been a saver for me, and to where I've been taking the business to now, but next year is going to be completely different, and I'm going to be setting goals for next year in another video, but this one is just about wrapping up this year. Now let me walk you through some of the projects, just show you some highlight clips of the projects that I really want to be attracting more of in the years to come. I know we've done 3 projects that I'm really proud of this year that will again build to my showcase. It's not like we haven't done these types of projects in the past, but we haven't done them to this scale in my business. It's been kind of one-offs here and there in those first couple of years where I focus on those lift and relays. This year I really hit a stride more so in selling these design build jobs, and let's get into these. I just want to say thank you for watching along to this channel. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't already. Be sure to subscribe for more of these videos, more of this journey, more supplemental information about hardscaping if you're interested in that. Be sure to like this video, comment on how your season went. I'd love to hear a wrap up of what you accomplished and maybe goals you set that you maybe missed by the end of the season and how you're going to accomplish those next season. Would love to hear from you, and thank you for watching.